There's a big day coming in your son's future. My question is he going to be ready for it? That's what I'm going to talk about in this video. Let's get right at it.
And now the most trusted name in all of youth sports, here's Coach Mark.
Hey there, it's Coach Mark. Thank you for showing up here today, watching this video. I promise you, I'm here to give you good information to help you and your son get through this journey the right way and on to the next level. My guess is you want to play baseball, or your son wants to play baseball for a long time. That's what these videos are for, to help you gather the information that matters. Well, today's video is pretty important because it's all about preparing for that day. I don't care what age your son is. He might be 9 years old. It doesn't matter. We're going to talk about preparing for something that is coming. We used to say, prepare for the impending event. It's coming, but will we be prepared? So the analogy I want to give you is something I think most people can relate to. Most adults can relate to a job interview. Okay, what happens is we go and we sit down with somebody and we're trying to get a job, right? So imagine this. Imagine that you had an opportunity 3 years out to go on an interview to get a job that is your dream job, and it's also going to triple your income. In other words, this is it. This is what you want more than anything, and you have 3 years before this interview actually takes place. So there's a couple things that as an adult, I'm sure you would think about. Number one, you would want to use those 3 years to the maximum potential. You would want to gather as much information about that company as you possibly could. And then you would want to prepare yourself to speak eloquently and knowledgeable about everything that's going to come up in that job interview, right? Because you really, really want the job. So you would take this time to prepare yourself for that. That's what you would do, logically. You would also hopefully recognize that if this job is that great, other people want it. So you would be in the back of your mind thinking, I'm in a competitive situation. I know there are a lot of people that want this job, and they're probably doing a lot of stuff too to get themselves ready for their interview. And then the day would come where you would have the interview and you would want to be as prepared as you possibly could be, and you would want to go in there and just crush that interview, right? I mean, this all makes perfect sense, right? And if you got the job, you would want to go in and crush the job. You would want to be phenomenal. In other words, it wouldn't just be about getting the job. It would be, now I got the job, I want to do great with the job, okay? Now, you probably can see where I'm going with this. Picture these young kids right now. They're playing baseball, but are they really thinking about a job interview out a few years out, which in their world, the job interview is playing in front of college coaches. That's their job interview. And it's coming. Whether they know it or not, the day will come where hopefully they'll actually get exposure. But my question is, will they be ready for the exposure? Will they have utilized this time that they have to prepare for their job interview? In today's video, I'm going to talk about some things that young players need to be doing to prepare for their job interview, getting scouted by a college coach. But I'm not going to stop there, because it's not just about getting a scholarship. It's not about, hey, I prepared for the job, I got the job. Because that actually happens to a lot of kids, but when they go play, when they go to college, it doesn't work out. Why? Because they prepared to get the job. They didn't prepare to flourish in the job, i.e. as a college player. So when we're talking about development, we're not just talking about getting something, we're talking about becoming something. And that's a whole different level of thinking. So I really, really hope you hang in there today with me, because I'll be honest with you, I don't see a lot of people doing what I would think they should be doing to prepare for that interview, and even more, ready to dominate at the next level. The clients that I'm working with, this is what we're talking about constantly. We're preparing for the job interview, and then we're preparing to dominate, to be phenomenal college players when we get there. Okay, so let's start with some basics. The first thing you need to understand is that it's super competitive. Okay, so those college coaches are going to be watching a lot of kids. It's not just you. So you are in a competitive situation. You are being compared. So, if you're internally driven, in the back of your mind, you got to be thinking, I got to be better than a lot of people. I got to be exceptional. I got to be elite because there's a lot of other kids out there doing what I'm doing or trying to do what I'm doing. So we got to recognize the competition. We got to recognize how good we need to be to play at the next level. A lot of people really don't understand. They think if you're a pretty good high school player, you're going to play in college. That's not the case. I've reminded you of the stats many, many times, and I'm going to continue to remind you of them. Less than 7% get to play college baseball. Of all high school players, less than 7%, less than 3% are getting to play Division I college baseball. Okay, that means 97% don't get to do that. So we have to be really, really, really good to get there. We have to be really, really prepared for the day that comes when these guys with checkbooks in their back pocket have a decision to make. Are they picking you or are they not picking you? So we need to be in the preparation mode for the job interview at all times. So, and let me also remind you, there's 9,200 kids in the transfer portal right now. 9,200 college kids. I'm not trying to depress you. I'm trying to emphasize if you're not in the preparation mode, if you're not getting ready for that job interview, you're just going to be way behind. And I'm not trying to scare you either. I'm trying to educate you. That education here will lead to potentially some behavioral changes. Maybe you'll reach out to get some help because you realize the daunting task ahead of you is maybe a little above your pay grade. If you're a mom or a dad and you've got a full-time career, this is a full-time career, and that's what I do. Okay, so hopefully I can help you in these videos, but obviously if you're a person that needs or wants help, set up a 15-minute call with me and let me explain to you a little bit about how we work with individuals as well. So let's start talking about preparation. Okay. If we have a job interview, in other words, we're gonna get your son in front of college coaches, and I don't care if he's 9, 10, 11, 12, we have time to prepare. What do we need to be focused on? What does preparation mean? Well, first thing it means is we need to become the best athlete we can become. There are so many ways to improve your athleticism. My experience, for most kids, they're not doing any of it. Most kids are pretty much doing the status quo. They're getting lessons, hitting lessons, pitching lessons, catching lessons. They're playing travel baseball. They're going to some camps. They're playing rec ball, whatever. That's what I call status quo. Okay, that's mainstream stuff. That's 101. Okay, that's not really preparing kids for the job interview ahead. If you think just doing that is going to be enough, you're mistaken. I don't know any other way of saying it. You're mistaken. So athleticism, you have to be a great athlete to play at the next level. You're competing with other great athletes. Now, some kids are just natural athletes, but most can improve their athleticism dramatically. I did a podcast with Rob Osinski. I'm doing a podcast with Don Weatherwax, nutrition, flexibility, strength, agility, balance, all these things go into making a great athlete. So that's number one. Number two, skills. I did a podcast with Coach Monty Lee at South Carolina. He made a statement in the podcast that hit me right between the eyes. I'm going to tell you what he said. He said, we don't recruit stats, we recruit skills. Let me say it again. We don't recruit stats. We recruit skills.
Bottom line is, when it comes to the recruitment part of it, we're recruiting skills.
Yeah.
We're not necessarily recruiting kids based on stats because we don't know their stats.
What did he mean by that? Well, if you're a young athlete, but you're not fine-tuning your baseball skills, you will also find yourself on the outside looking in. I've coached a lot of kids, and the coaches would say it's not about his athleticism. He's a big, strong, athletic kid. He's just raw. He doesn't have baseball skills. Why doesn't he? Because he didn't work on them. He didn't perfect skills. What are some skills that you could be perfecting? If you're a pitcher, your pickoff move, holding runners, throwing 3 or 4 pitches for strikes. A lot of kids talk about how hard they throw. Who cares if you can't throw a strike? Do you have a secondary pitch that gets guys out? No, I just blow it by everybody, because I'm 13 and I'm throwing hard. It's not going to be good enough in 2 years. You got to have an out pitch that the good hitters don't have any problem with velocity. Okay, so you got to have movement on your ball. What about if a hitter? Can you hit the ball the other way? Are you great at guys throwing you away and you can just slap it on the right side or drive it to right center if you're a right-handed hitter? Can you bunt? Can you steal bases? Are you a defensive wizard at shortstop? Are you a center fielder that gets great angles and takes great jumps and has a great arm with accuracy to bases? Do you have high baseball IQ? You know how to play the game at a high level. You see what I'm saying? These are skills that most kids are not focused on. And how do I know this? Because I do tryouts. I ask kids to do things and they can't do them. Let me see your lead at first base. They don't know how to get a lead at first base. They have no technique whatsoever. Show me how you steal third base from second base. Show me your technique. I want to see it. Can't do it. Show me your bunting. Bunting is like a lost art. I do tryouts. Kids look like they've never bunted in their whole life. Okay, so what I'm getting at is you need to be a great athlete and you need to be a skilled player. Closely related to that is baseball IQ. If your son, I'm just saying it like it is, if your son doesn't want to watch baseball, doesn't want to talk baseball, doesn't want to study baseball, I will tell you based on my experience, he probably is not going to play in college. Okay, and here's why. The kids who are playing in college are playing at a high level. They understand the game at a high level. How do they understand the game at a high level? They just keep talking about it. They want to watch baseball. They want to study baseball. I coached so many kids that drove me nuts sometimes because they never stopped talking about baseball. And I'm just like, these kids are just baseball grinders. They're like junkies. So parents, I know I might hurt your feelings on this, but if you're not seeing that from your son, I'm not saying I haven't seen some exceptions of kids that somehow are so talented, but they're not like loving the game and eating, sleeping, and drinking it. There are some kids like that, but most of the kids that I've coached over the last 20 years, they're just into it. They're just into it. They love the game. They talk the game. They study the game. They watch the game. I get really, really concerned when I do my Zoom meetings with potential prospects, and I ask them some questions about their habits. How much college baseball do you watch? Do you have a favorite college baseball team? Have you ever been to a Division I baseball game? Do you watch pro games? Do you go to games? There are kids that answer all those questions, I hate to say it this way, the wrong way. Nah, I really don't watch much college baseball. Nah, really don't have any favorite teams. I'm not really into watching pro games or anything. I'm just telling you, I'm sizing that up, and I'm saying to myself, probably not a client for me because he doesn't profile like the kids that I'm used to working with. Just being honest here today. This is what you came here for. You want truth. You want honesty. I'm not saying there are not exceptions. I just don't want you to think being an exception is a good idea. Okay. So athleticism, skills, baseball IQ. Okay. If you just stopped right there and said, am I really preparing for the next level? You would be saying, I'm doing a few things right. I'm becoming the best athlete I can become. I am learning skills. I don't see that many other people having the skills that I have. And I am really pushing the envelope on learning baseball IQ. Okay, we could stop there, but I'm not going to stop there because there's more to it than that. How about the mental side of things? Are you training your brain to be a elite competitor? How much do you study the Michael Jordans of the world, the Derek Jeters, the Muhammad Alis, the Roger Federers, the Cale Sandersons? How much are you studying champions, the mind of a champion? How many books are you reading about success and the attributes? See, we're preparing for a job interview, right? We're working on our athleticism. We're working on our skills. We're working on our baseball IQ. We're working on the mental game. So when a college coach sees me at my job interview, he sees all of this playing out. He sees a kid that looks completely different than almost every single kid on the field. If you don't think the kids that are getting to play, let's just say Division I baseball, if you don't think they absolutely stand out in many ways to these college coaches, you would also be sadly mistaken. It's very, very clear to these guys who they're looking for. The problem is it's hard to find them coming out of high school. It really is. The reason it's hard to find them is because hardly anybody's doing what I'm talking about doing. Now, I'm going to brag for a minute. And it's really not bragging. I shouldn't even say it is. My son, Christian, was a really, really good player, but he was not a freak of nature. He wasn't one of these kids. He wasn't 6'4", lefty, throwing 95 and doesn't even know how he's doing it. Those are the kids I call freaks of nature. They were just born with so much God-given ability, right? He wasn't one of those kids. But all these things that I'm talking about doing, he was doing when he was 10 years old, 11, 12, working on his athleticism, working on his skill set, working on his baseball IQ, studying the minds of champions. I took him out of school when he was 12 years old to go watch a high school game because the shortstop on that team that day was going to be a first-round draft pick. And I said to my wife, this is like education here. I want Christian to see what a first-round draft pick out of high school in his position looks like. And we sat there. We didn't even watch the game. All we did was watch this kid, every move he made. And I'm telling you, my son learned a lot that day about how different these kids look than the average kid on the field. So am I getting my point across here? There is a way to prepare for this next level, your job interview, and there are lots of ways not to prepare for it. So it's coming, whether you recognize it or not, it's coming. Your opportunity will be here. The question is, will you get the job as a player? That means, will you play in front of a college coach and he goes, wow, look at this kid. And I'll add one more layer to this when I say they're coming to watch you play. Are you doing everything right? Are you a great teammate? Okay. That's part of your preparation. Are you a great coachable kid? I mean, I can tell you so many stories. I had a kid that was kind of cocky and arrogant, and he was a really good player. And I was always trying to humble the kid a little bit. Well, we were playing at Virginia Tech, and Pete Hughes was the head coach. He calls me over and says, hey, when JJ comes up, I want you to get on his case. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, just get on his case. Yell at him about something. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be something else. So JJ comes up to bat. He takes a fastball, and this is my moment to yell at him, which I normally never would do. I create a little spectacle. I get on his case. What are you doing? Not swinging at that pitch, JJ. And Pete Hughes is watching the whole thing. And JJ takes it on the chin, just like a trooper, man. He handled the unfair criticism really well. And I say, well, now get back in there and swing the bat. And I look over at Pete, like as if to say, like, is that what you were looking for? And he gives me the thumbs up. He's like, that's perfect. Afterwards, he said, I just wanted to see how coachable he was. I wanted to see, he's a really good player. But if you got on his case and he copped an attitude and shrugged his shoulders and bad body language, he would have said, I would have had no interest in the kid. I don't care how talented he is if he's kind of cocky, arrogant, and uncoachable. That day, JJ passed the job interview. Do you see what I'm saying here? He was ready for that. And I'm not taking all the credit for it, but we talk to our players about stuff like that. So we're getting kids ready for the job interview. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this information today. You can tell I get a little fired up about it. I get passionate about it because it's information that you need. And if you do something with it, it becomes powerful. Remember, information without action is just information. Information with action is power. Until the next video, God bless. Mom, Dad, what is the absolute best thing that you could possibly do for your son? It's to be the best that you can be. It's to be an elite parent, knowledgeable, experienced, somebody who really, really understands everything that they need to understand to help their son. What's my point? I'm introducing you to a new parent training course that I created. It's called Ambassadors Elite. And let me just give you a few of the details of why I'm so excited about this. Number one, it's going to be live. So we're going to have a chance to interact. We're probably going to meet every Sunday evening, and I'm going to go for about 45 minutes on a very specific topic, one every Sunday for 52 weeks. That's a lot of topics. That's a lot of information, and followed up each week with a Q&A, live Q&A. So we have a chance to interact with each other. The topics are so good. And I don't mean to sound so self-serving here, but when I put 52 weeks together, I had the luxury of saying, boy, include this, include this, include this, include this. And get this, I'm also going to be inviting a lot of the people that I call my village. I mean, after 20 years of doing this, you can imagine the network of people that I've been able to build. We're talking about sports performance trainers. We're talking about sports nutritionists. We're talking about mental coaches. We're talking about spiritual leaders. We're talking about former players. We're talking about coaches. You get the picture? There's a whole network of people that out there that I work with almost on a daily basis that you probably don't know. I'm going to introduce you to them, and you're going to love these people just like I love them. They're going to bring so much value into your world. So all you have to do is be one of the first 100 people to register for this program. Why is that? Because we're limiting it to 100 people. Now, when I say people, I'm talking about parents. So mom and dad are one registration, okay? So you can both come on, or one or the other, doesn't matter. But one family. 100 families are going to get to do this with me for the next year. At the end of the year, I've got a little graduation ceremony planned for you guys. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a lot of fun with this throughout the year, but you're going to get a free t-shirt, and it says Ambassadors Elite 4.0. You graduated. You are Elite 4.0. It's going to be a lot of fun. So one other point, don't let the 52-week thing scare you of like, oh my gosh, what if I miss? You're going to have access to our back office, a community that you're going to be able to interact with other people in the training program. So you're going to get to network with some other people, which I think is going to be cool. And all of the videos that we do, all of the training courses will be there. So if you miss a live Sunday night, you won't miss the information. You'll have access to it. And this is going to be so affordable. As you probably know, I'm a consultant individually with families, and I'm loving that. We're having a lot of fun, but that's very time consuming and expensive, and that's okay. That's working great for those people, but for everybody else that can't do that or isn't doing that, I wanted to offer something that at least 100 people could join me. And after that, we'll add some more spots. So I hope you're excited about this. It's in the link below. You do need to jump on it. We're going to start this in January. So I'm letting you know right now to go ahead and get registered, and we'll crank this thing up in the new year, and we're going to have a fun 2026 together. I hope you join me.